Thank you. Please be seated. Good afternoon, everyone. This meeting of Ajax Council is being held in a hybrid meeting format with virtual and in-person participation by members of the public, staff, and council. This meeting is also being live streamed and may be viewed online at ajax.ca/live. Friendly reminder to all participants, please use their microphone at all times for the benefit of those participating in council chambers and joining remotely. I will now call this meeting to order. We'd like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territories of the Mississaugas. More specifically, the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. This land is and will continue to be home to the Indigenous peoples. Let us acknowledge the mistakes and traumas of the past through authenticity and support truth and reconciliation. Let us engage and celebrate Indigenous communities by being leaders of action and acknowledging the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's recommendations towards truth and reconciliation. Let us keep these principles close as we continue towards truth and reconciliation and as we move forward with kindness and respect as a community. Any members of committee or council have any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we're just going to do this on the fly. Can I get a mover and seconder for the adoption of minutes? I see Councillor Tyler Morin and Councillor Henry. We'll start the vote. That passes. To the clerk, is there any questions for question period? Seeing none, we'll move on to delegations, presentations, and meetings. First, we have item 5.1, Durham Agricultural Advisory Committee, Community Outreach Presentation to Council. We have Zach Cahoon, Chair of the Durham Region Agricultural Advisory Committee, and Neil Guthrie, Member of the Durham Region Agricultural Advisory Committee.
Good.
You can start when you're ready. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Happy to see you again. We're going to try and make this yearly as possible because we love talking to our local politicians to talk about agricultural issues as they contribute to the whole region. We talk about farming, but every one of you here has to deal with farming in some way because you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we provide it. The raw materials and the stuff and the food. Anyways, Neil and I are here. Neil's a resident of the area, and I live in the Port Perry, greater Port Perry area. I'm a farmer there. The DAC provides advice to the region of Durham on agricultural matters and rural matters as they relate to agriculture. We talk about projects and consultations and can be referred or presented to DAC for information to gather feedback. So we like to be the conscience of the council. We like to be able to get ideas or get input from you people and move them up through the chain of command to the region so that agricultural issues get a voice. We have 17 members, including members at large and representatives from each local municipality and the Durham Region Federation of Agriculture, Durham Farm Fresh, and there are also 3 non-farming representatives on the committee. The DAC is a fantastic committee because we are all volunteers and only a few people of staff, and it works very well. Agricultural at a glance in the region of Durham and Ajax, there's 1,200 farms, 260-some thousand acres of farmland. And the average farm size is 220 acres and growing. Does anybody know why the average farm size is growing? It's because of farms are getting bigger and big farms are buying out little farms because the little farms are not as profitable. And all of us talk about how to make farm succession and keep the next generation farming. And it's all about profitability. I cannot tell my son, who is 20 years old, to come to work for me and give him a guaranteed salary or guaranteed way of making an income at this time because of geopolitical economic influences. Okay? 24% of us sell farm products directly to the consumer. 18 farms operate as a community supported agriculture. So we sell produce and stuff right to people, or they order it. Fantastic things, because it involves people and populations with actual farm produce and actual farmers. 32 farms sell to farmers markets, where they actually take their produce and set up and move their produce to a location where there's consumers. And 191 farms sell directly from their farm or at stands or at pick your owns. Because we are so close to the Greater Toronto area and a huge population area, the region of Durham is ripe for these types of businesses. We also have a land mass that is very climate accommodating for growing tender fruits and vegetables and all kinds of great things that people want to buy that are directly consumable. We can talk about the economic contributions. This is from 2021. The local agri-food sector employed 27,105 people. Agriculture is a fuel. We employ lots of people, not just in farming, not just in farming, but at all the service industries that go along with it, the dealerships, the processing plants, and everything else that goes along with it. So every dollar spent in agriculture gets pushed up the tree and creates a revenue flow for the whole community. There was 354 some odd million in farm cash receipts. The top three are grains and oilseeds, floriculture and sod, and dairy farming. So we talk about grains and oilseeds. That's what I do. I grow corn, soybeans, and wheat. So corn, soybeans, and wheat are just about in all of your diets every day in some form. There's corn in just about everything, if we're talking about corn sugar, corn flour, corn starch, soybeans, soybean oil, and all kinds of its fractures, as well as protein. And wheat is all the flours and breads and stuff. Ontario grows soft red winter wheat. It makes Kraft Dinner, I'm sorry to say. It goes to Mississauga Kraft, or it goes to Toledo, Ohio, where Kraft makes Kraft Dinner. And they buy Ontario wheat because of its high quality. Some farm facts: 16.4% generate renewable energy, including solar, bioenergy, and wind power. Lots of things happen on farms because of the land space. Corn goes for ethanol. I sell almost 85% of my corn to the ethanol plant in Havelock. Where it goes, it gets digested. They're not making ethanol there now, they make hand sanitizer. Their main production now is medical grade alcohol. And why do they do that? Because it's a small ethanol plant and they can. And the byproducts of that are carbon dioxide and wet and dry distillers grains, which they get shipped daily out of that place. They either go for human food as a protein source, or they go for animal food all across the province. It will not be any day that some of that byproduct is shipped out of that plant and sent all the way to Goderich or into Quebec. Every day. I'm trying to go as fast as I can here. I don't know what I did there. Is that the end of it? Must be. Okay. I usually have papers, and then papers and I get along. Computers and I don't get along as well. When we talk about DAC and what the agricultural business does for the community, I'm here to be that liaison between you and that community. When you go and talk to the next higher up, the provincial guys, okay, there we go. When you go talk to the provincial politicians and members of parliament and the federal politicians, and they ask you, what can your community do and with agricultural issues? We need to make agriculture more profitable for the next generation to move forward. So when we're talking about tariffs, we're talking about taxation, and we're talking about red tape. Right now, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is putting rules forward to change the rules of how we move cattle around. And it is more red tape that we don't need. Right now, we have a system in progress where an animal gets an RFID tag. That RFID tag is tagged to that person's home base where that calf was born, and it follows it if it can, and there is loss, and if it's lost, a new tag is put in before it's transported. We really don't need a new system. There is a rather large uprising in Western Canada about it. There is some uprising and some talk in Ontario about this transportation and being able to qualify or quantify where these animals are moving. It really just boils down to more red tape for a farmer and less movement of animals. What DAC also does, every year, and I hope you were there, we hold the annual farm tour where we invite all of you to come and learn about farm things. So we had it at Kubota this year. We had a fantastic day. We had the largest turnout we've ever had, and we learned a whole bunch of stuff. I learned new stuff that I don't know, and I hope to learn new stuff every day, but I was very impressed with our attendance and what was learned there. Other things we're working on is the North Durham On-Farm Diversified Uses Project. We are looking towards making farms able to have small businesses and be able to do diversified uses. So they can have a farm stand or they can do something at their front. What this does is makes the next generation or part of that farm family, gives them a job, gives them something that they can call their own, and gives them economic freedom. The other part of that is farm-related businesses. So I have a farm, I am a mechanic and a welder, and in my shop in the wintertime we do little jobs. But it allows us to do those little jobs relatively easily. We talk about the Duffins Rouge Agricultural Reserve, we talk about clean water issues, local planning issues, and economic development initiatives, and transportation issues. Transportation is a big thing for agriculture. Everything we grow has to be moved somewhere. I grow 1,700 tons of corn, about 900 tons of wheat, and 1,000 tons of soybeans. Every truckload I haul is 45 tons. We can do a little bit of math there, but that's basically what we do. So all of my wheat and soybeans goes to Hamilton and loaded on a boat. All of my corn goes to Havelock. We have fantastic east-west transportation in Durham Region. We have the 401, we have the 407. We are missing north-south transportation routes. And it would be fantastic if we would get a north route to a 400 or 404 or 400 better than what we have. And it would reduce the number of trucks coming straight down here. There's lots of trucks on the road. Yeah, we're just talking about major issues, transportation, the price of agricultural land, probably the largest. When I started buying farms, I was 21 years old and I was paying $1,000 an acre. Farmland right now is $22,000 to $23,000 an acre for variable land. It makes it a little bit hard for a 20-year-old to get into the business. When we talk about that, maybe we should talk about tax incentives and how to tax breaks so that we can get these young people into a situation where they can transfer that wealth to the next generation. And it doesn't even have to be the next generation. If we have a willing person that wants to take over a farm and a willing seller or a mentor of that farm, maybe we just need some tax and economic incentives to move those decisions forward so that these people can get started without being behind the 8 ball. As our population grows, we need more food processing capacity. There's not enough in the region of Durham. Everything we have gets shipped out, almost everything we have. We have challenges in global markets. You've probably heard that our Prime Minister went to China and he's going to allow electric vehicles to be imported into Canada so that we can export lobster and canola oil. Canola oil is canola and canola byproducts is a huge agricultural export for Western farmers. We grow a lot of canola here in the region of Durham, a lot of canola in the Oshawa underneath the 407 belt as well. Those are all geopolitical issues that we deal with every day. Canada exports agricultural products. We're big at it, and that's what we do. Planning policy changes and agricultural education, those are our biggest things that I work on. Educating you people about what I do, where your food comes from, and how we can all work together. As a resource, we're here to help, and we're here to be asked questions, and we are adamant, and we're just available. We want to hear from you. If you have issues, or if you don't understand, or you want to talk to us, please put your questions forward. We need to bridge the gap.
That's actually all the time.
That's all the time,
Keep
yep.
it reduction.
We're good.
I just want to make sure we have time for questions as well.
Yep.
We
I
have
thought
Councillor
we-
Henry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cahoon, and thank you for being here today. As always, your presentations, you know, you never leave us with a boring room, let me put it to you that way. You're very good at presentations. I just wanted to ask a couple questions because that was a lot of information at once. So when we talk about the cows and the tagging, what agency did you say was doing that?
Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
Okay, so that's
CFIA.
That's federal, not
That is
provincial.
federal.
That's federal, yeah.
It is federal, but
Yeah.
when you talk to your federal counterparts,
Yeah.
please mention us.
We will,
Yeah.
100%. We have a very good relationship with our new MP.
Yep.
And that would be a great conversation to have. So we could take that back to the table. When you spoke about the northern route, just out of curiosity for travel, the northern route for travel, how we have
Yep.
the east and the west and things have opened up a bit and we're doing good in that way. Did you have an idea for a northern travel route?
Do I have an idea? I have lots of ideas. We're looking at the Highway 12 route, the Highway 23s, and Simcoe Street. So now that 407 dumps out on Simcoe Street, I have issues getting out of my driveway. I live off Simcoe Street. That's a
Yes.
commuter route.
Yes.
But when I talk about agricultural issues, I talk about truck transport. So we don't have a really, besides the 412 coming up to Highway 7, we don't have a 4-lane, a big road that goes north and south in the region of Durham.
All right.
And
Well,
there is lots of stuff that happens north of the regions, lots of gravel moves south, lots of stuff, and agricultural products is one of them. Like I said, everything we grow a lot of it goes to Hamilton.
yes, yes.
We are working on getting the port in Oshawa more utilized. It is a slow process, but we are working on it. They've doubled its size, more grain moved there this year than it ever has. We're working on it.
Yeah, but Buck Winter has made that very clear over the years about
Yeah.
the transportation routes and what is needed. So that's some good feedback. Thank you for that. You spoke about canola oil and how it was used in hand sanitizer.
Oh,
and,
that's ethanol, sorry.
sorry,
Yeah.
ethanol, sorry.
Yeah.
And how it's used in hand sanitizer. And I just wanted to thank you for that because during COVID, as you know, there was a lot of emerging Canadian factories on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I own part owner of a medical supply company, and we saw that growth here in Canada, and you contributed very big, very large to that in more ways than people realize, with being able to have the materials ready to go on the ground, the raw materials, to be able, for these factories to be able to source and create these products at home here in Canada and be able to provide it without waiting on shipments coming from overseas. So kudos to you and all the farmers for everything you do, because that was, a part of history that nobody ever gave you recognition for.
Thank you very much. And this is an actual demonstration of how agriculture can pivot to fill a demand.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
When you speak of canola and you spoke about the Prime Minister and a deal made, could you just talk a little bit more about that? Because you're talking about EVs coming from China, and I took by your language that you were in favor of this, that this kind of worked out in a way. Am I right in that assumption?
I am in favor of making deals that increase our exports and agricultural byproducts or products being shipped around the world. I am in favor of business.
So are you on the winning side of this as a farmer?
I do not grow canola. But when we open doors for one product, we also open doors for other products. And that is very important. China is a huge market for our high quality grains. We grow high quality identity preserved soybeans and specialty beans, a lot of which go to the Eastern European and Chinese and Japanese markets. Well, that's big for Ontario. Big for
Excellent.
Canada, actually. And we have built a whole agricultural business around exporting.
Well,
And when we look at tariffs going down south,
yes, exactly.
we need to start looking
Elsewhere.
for markets.
Yes, and I think that was a nice positive spin you gave us today, because we're hearing a lot of negativity in the news about the potential of the EVs coming in. And yes, like my husband works in the car industry, so yes, there is that factor there. But, we're also now looking at, from your lens, from a farmer's lens, of the positive part of that and what that could look like. So there's, two sides to every coin, right?
This is what I say to my 3 kids when we talk about issues. I said, there's issues. I said, there's always 3 stories. Make sure you know at least 2 stories before you have an opinion.
100%. And you've given us another look at a different
Yeah.
opinion. And I'm going to close with saying to you, thank you for your comment about where grains are going and to the south to craft.
Yeah.
And, hopefully Donald Trump's hearing that down there, because, we're holding the key to the craft dinner that everybody loves so much in America. So, maybe, ease off the tariffs a bit there.
Yeah.
So, and I see Mr. Guthrie coming forward. Did you have something to add, sir?
Yes. 115 is the only 4-lane highway through Durham Region, north and southbound.
115. Okay.
115, and look how far east that is.
Yeah.
And I think there was a study done probably 30 years ago. I don't know if you're familiar with north of Southern where 7B comes out.
Yes.
That was to go straight through and come out at the Holland Landing. And they were doing the environmental study, and they found some bug or some worm or something that they couldn't destroy the habitat, so that was all canned. And
I remember
would that
that.
be handy?
Yep.
That would take a lot of traffic off these north-south roads.
Yes. I do
'Cause
remember that because my
everybody's coming
father,
south down through Oxbridge, and they gotta go north again.
yeah, my father owned land up that way, so I
Yeah.
do remember that because that whole project was scrapped at that
Yeah.
time.
Councillor Henry,
Thank
we've
you.
gone a bit over.
They were talking to, interviewing the president, whatever, of the Canadian Canola Growers Association.
Yes.
He said he lost $100,000 this year because of the Chinese tariffs.
Oh, because of the tariffs.
He was down 100,000 and
So
It
we're
didn't
making
come.
some progress here with some deals that are going
Yeah.
on. That's what I'm hearing. You folks have been great. Thank you for allowing me to ask you some questions. I don't know if any of my fellow councillors have questions, but thank you for your time.
They do. In fact, we have Councillor Bauer next.
Thank you, Chair Lee. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. What a wonderful presentation, so interesting, and I appreciate it every year. So I just had a quick question about some of the numbers on slide number 4, where it says where you told us there's 1,200 farms across Durham Region, and that a total of 241 sell directly to the consumer through markets, pick your own stands, or community-supported agriculture. So that's, what do the other 959 farms, are they all export farms, or what?
Oh,
how
no.
do they, what do they
So-
do?
Agriculture in Ontario the pick your owns and the farm markets are people that are motivated to do that. They have the right land
Right,
and stuff like that. I grow corn, soybeans, and wheat.
yes,
So I sell to people, basically I sell to merchandisers. I sell to people that resell it to other people.
okay,
So I do sell little bits of corn to people that come off the street.
okay.
But they do not take 45-ton truckloads,
No.
They take
That's
little
a lot of
bags.
corn, yeah,
okay? And when we look at the amount of grain that was produced in the region of Durham, it's very hard for me to, like, every one of you would have to have a small dump truck to hold this grain that we
Right.
grow. So agricultural business has changed in the region a little bit. We are more, we grow more grain than we do livestock. When I first started farming, I had 1,000 pigs, so we had 60 sows farrow to finish. We had 35 cows. We had a feedlot that fed 250 cows for meat production.
Yes.
I grew all my feed on farm
Wow.
and never left the farm. We talk about people in the region. I'm going to highlight White Feather Farms.
Yes.
Okay? They grow their feed on their farm and they process it on farm, which is a rarity in a chicken production industry. They have their own feed mill, they produce their own feed. They sell their soybeans to Hamilton, to Bunge, which processes it, and they buy the meal back, which they put in the feed. It's a closed loop.
Okay.
That type of agriculture is not the norm right now in the region of Durham. We produce grain and we export it.
Okay. Okay.
These small, like, this is not a very large, and it is not for everyone,
Okay.
right? The farm markets and stuff like that.
Sure.
That's not for everyone.
Right.
These are exceptional people that do this job.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't acknowledge that or appreciate it enough.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, thank you so much. And I just want to say I heard your comment about the need to make agriculture and farming more profitable for the next generation. And in particular, you mentioned your son.
Yeah.
And, you know,
My
that's
daughters
something.
as well. My
Yeah.
daughter, actually, my oldest daughter helps. She works in Guelph as a veterinary technician at the Ontario Veterinary College. And she comes home for half the week. And when we're busy, she works with us that other half
Yeah.
of the week.
No, I love that, but not, yeah, for sure.
She actually works a little harder than my son. But,
Okay.
you know, we're not gonna tell anybody these
no.
things.
Yeah, daughters are pretty awesome that way, right? Helping their dads. But no, thank you. I heard that comment and I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you very
That
much.
was my only question.
Your son's getting a lot of play this this meeting.
Yeah.
Councillor Dies.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation. I always learned something. It's always very interesting. So my question is too about keeping what we have with respect to agricultural lands and growing them. I would assume with population growth, we're going to need as much as we can get on prime ag lands. And wondering if your committee has had a chance to comment on the fact that the federal government has gifted some of the airport lands back to a natural heritage system that they're going to, what's in Rouge National Park. But there are still a number of quite a lot of land that's left that they haven't made a decision on. Has your committee had an opportunity to sort of speak to that, or?
So we've been talking about the federal airport lands for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And what's gonna happen, or and probably more than 10 years, actually. So where I farm, a lot of those farmers that were expropriated have moved up to my area, and they still go down there and farm their original farms. So we talk about this quite a bit. I'm going to give you my personal opinion, because this is class 1 and 2 farmland. It has not been maintained to its ideal place because it was managed and the rent was cheap, but there was no continuancy plan. So no one knew if they were going to be able to have it next year, and there was no investment in that land. And now they've changed the rules a little bit, and there is possibilities for these renters and owners of this land to invest in this land and make it productive again. In my opinion, I think building houses on prime agricultural land is short-sighted. I think that Canada has a relatively small area of agricultural production. We're very big in the agricultural production industry, but one guy, a farmer from Iowa, told me once that Ontario grows as much corn as Iowa does in one day. That's the volume difference. So if we have a sovereignty issue or if we need to produce our own food, why are we building houses on the only productive strip of land we have? That's my opinion.
Well, I think many agree with you. And it's important to speak about it as often as possible because, as you say, it's been a longstanding issue. And we're not getting a lot of traction, but timing could be a little bit better right now. Also with the headwaters of the Crothers too, there's a big push on now to build on that. And that would be detrimental to the people who live downstream here in Ajax, but it's also detrimental because they're prime 1 ag lands. And so there's a
For
lot
sure,
of challenges.
I'm no planner, and I can't understand that, and we are going to have population growth.
Yes,
And I understand
yes.
that. And population growth and agriculture go hand in hand.
Yeah, well, I agree, and I'm hoping that the committee also will continue their work on proactively, fostering that way of
Thank you.
thinking, because we do appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for all, oh, excuse me, Regional Councillor Crawford.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Over here.
Yeah, I see.
Nice to see you. This summer was probably one of the hottest, driest summers I can remember in a long time. That had to have affected your crops.
Okay. So I am getting to be an okay farmer. I have 35 crops that I've grown. I'm getting to be okay. In the great order of things, they say you have to grow 40 crops to be good at farming. This is the first year that I have had a crop insurance claim on 2 crops. I had a crop insurance claim on corn, and I had a crop insurance claim on the soybeans that I grow.
What does that actually mean?
So I buy crop insurance. So here's the best description. I have a rolling average that I input into the government every year. I input what my yields are and the number of acres I grow and the location. And they take a 5-year rolling average of that. And every year I buy crop insurance for what I grow. So this year I grew 500 and some acres, 535 acres of corn. My average crop insurance average is 185 bushels to the acre. So I pay $8.25 an acre to insure that crop to 90% of 185 bushels. Okay? So this year, my average yield coming off the scale was 121 bushels to the acre. Okay? So the difference between 90% of 185 and 121, crop insurance paid me that difference.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So here's the catch. Because this year is 121 bushels, it's in my 5-year average next year. So there is no incentive to farm the crop insurance business.
Great.
Because as soon as your crop average gets too low, you never make a claim. As I was saying, this is the first time that I've had a crop insurance claim for 2 crops in 1 year.
And that was largely driven by the heat.
That was a drought issue, and that drought issue happened basically north of the town of Seagrave to Brecon, and a little bit north of Brecon where we kind of get out of the prime agricultural area, and it went from Beaverton all the way to Kingston, basically along the Highway 7 corridor.
Yeah.
The people around Woodville in the northern parts of Durham region, they did a lot worse than I did. There was actually fields of corn up there that they disked down in August because they were not going to make yields at all. There's some guys that tried to salvage that by chopping that grain and making it into a forage crop for cows. It had not enough sugar in it and it rotted. So even that didn't make.
So can I ask you then, now, this being one of the more harsher winters, I would say, I mean, it is Canada,
Yeah.
right? But does that have any effect on your land? As the turnaround goes?
I think having snow is good.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it does
So
already
in this
hydrate?
part, I live north of the ridges, we don't get a lot of frost. we get very minimal frost. Like, we could go out into one of my fields right now with a shovel and dig dirt.
Right.
So this snow is going slowly into the ground and replenishing the aquifer.
Good, so then that's good.
It
It's a
is
great circle of life.
I would like to see snow in the ground. I don't like to see frozen ground and freezing rain. I think all that water runs. Where this water goes down slowly. And every day, even if it's cold, the bottom layer of that snow is melting on the ground and going in.
Right, okay, interesting, thank you so much.
Seeing no other questions, thank you again for your presentation. We'll see you next year.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 5.2 was withdrawn. So we're on to item 5.3, presentation, year in review, the Ajax Partnership Fund. We have Liam Nichols, Grants and Strategic Initiatives Coordinator.
Never sure how that works. Okay. Thank you very much, Council, for the opportunity to present today on the 2025 Ajax Partnership Fund. It's hard to believe we're here again already, but it is that time. This year's report is a little bit different. It's more of a part one of two. Last year, we were also able to introduce to you the 2025 projects in addition to the 2024 report. This year, the 2026 projects will be coming in another presentation soon, but at a different meeting. So it does mean today will be a little bit briefer, but you'll get to see me twice, which is always, I'm sure, a treat. So I'll just start with some acknowledgements. I'd like to start by acknowledging everybody who applied to the program. While we try to make it as easy as possible for people to apply, I do recognize that it's, for any grant, a lot of work to put together an application. And everybody who puts together an application for our program, having looked at all the applications myself, I know puts a lot of time, effort, and care into it. They are thoughtfully crafted proposals, and they're all interested in making Ajax a better place. I also want to acknowledge the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation for their continued support of the town of Ajax and funding for the program. Through the municipal contribution agreement, the town is able to provide the Ajax Partnership Fund. So what is the Ajax Partnership Fund? By now, hopefully you're all aware, but the Ajax Partnership Fund is the town's corporate giving program. It is designed to advance strategic priorities as defined by council through the strategic plan. And we do that by giving grants to our external partners. Recipients are expected to complete regular reporting on their projects so that we're able to track their progress and ensure that they're meeting their milestones. And this is used to assess the outcomes of the fund. And as I previously noted, the program is fully funded through non-tax revenue. So we'll just go into our 2025 projects. Each year, $250,000 is allocated to the Ajax Partnership Fund. So $239,000 was allocated to Partnership Fund projects, with the balance of $11,000 allocated to bursaries, including the Ajax Shining Stars bursary program. The outcomes for the past year, 134 Ajax businesses were served. Typically it refers to projects purchasing goods or services from businesses here in Ajax. So that's Partnership Fund money going directly back into the community. 278,440 Ajax residents were served. You're not reading that incorrectly. Those are non-unique interactions. So some of our projects have a town-wide impact. They serve potentially thousands of people in their reach. But those may be the same person twice, hence why we get a larger number than the population. And lastly, there were 366 public-facing communications about Ajax Partnership Fund projects. So that could be emails, flyers, social media posts, any number of things thanking the town for our support for these projects. So I'm going to highlight a few selected projects for you quickly here. The first one is, of course, the Alzheimer's Society of Durham Region. This past year, we provided them with a $50,000 grant from the Partnership Fund. This funding was used to help support their integration into the Grandview location, creating a fully accessible, centralized location for their counseling, education, support groups, and more. The gift helped keep the project moving forward on a very tight timeline, and they were able to launch in 2025, and we were pleased to be there with them as they celebrated their Community Day earlier in the year. The Alzheimer's Society of Durham Region has received grants from the town through the Ajax Partnership Fund for a number of years, and each year they've grown their footprint in the town of Ajax, so we're very excited to see them have a more permanent presence here in the town that they can use to serve all of Durham Region. We have a little quote here from them as well, just recognizing that they are getting momentum. They've seen through the reporting that they've done expanded interest and need for the services, so that's always a good thing to see. The Ajax Pickering Hospital Foundation received a $25,000 investment for 3 vital signs monitors, which were placed into service in their emergency department in January of 2025. It services roughly 165 patients per day, so it's a critical piece of equipment. That's one of the first things that patients use when they're arriving at the hospital. It strengthened their frontline capacity and contributed to a more efficient and responsive emergency service for residents of Ajax. And best of all, the hospital was able to take our $15,000 contribution, and through their negotiations, we're actually able to buy 4 monitors for use in Ajax. So we were very excited to see that, certainly surpassed our expectations. The Ignite Durham Learning Foundation is another organization that we've been working with over successive years, who are now establishing a more permanent presence in Ajax thanks to our ongoing support. The Make a Difference Depot is located at Ajax High School, and it helps to ensure that students who require a bit of assistance can secure access to culturally sensitive food in a comfortable and dignified manner. Through our $15,000 contribution and through the work that the foundation is doing, Ajax is helping to ensure that students are set up for success as they go about their days trying to get through school. And the last project I'll highlight for you is Pride Durham, who hosts the annual Pride Parade and celebrations here in Ajax. They've received $10,000 from us each year over the past 3 years. And that funding helps to reinforce our message that Ajax supports efforts to promote inclusion and support diversity and visibility across the region. Funds from the Ajax Partnership Fund help to offset the enormous costs and logistics that go into hosting the Pride Parade every year. It's a huge undertaking that I'm sure you've all seen firsthand. And they also help to ensure that the town can continue to serve as the host of this excellent event now and into the future. And that's 2025 at a glance. I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you for the presentation. We have Councillor Henry first.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. As you know, I support this initiative very much so because you deal with a lot of the diverse communities that come through me to you looking for funding for their projects. And it was a little bit of a scare this year. We're going to see how it goes with the funding being dropped. But, you know, folks very much depend on this to create and bring programming and events here that we as a town do not bring here. And it's been a great placehold filler for those type of programming. So I just wanted to say thank you for that because I know your team does a lot of work. There's a lot of applications you go through. It's very time consuming. I get it's your job, but it's still very time consuming and tedious. And you work very well with giving the organizers the feedback they need that if they're not successful one year, it may help them to be successful the following year and understand what they need to strengthen their application. So I want to start off by saying thank you about that. And then I did want to ask a question with regards to Ignite Durham, because I did have some feedback from residents about where the funding goes and asking why, like, Ignite Durham is part of the DDSB. It's part of one school board, not 2. And why is it that we're supplementing things that are happening within schools? And so this is not my words, please understand. This is the feedback that I've received is why is the town supplementing what's happening in schools? Where is the money from the school board or through the parent council committees, and why is it not happening in that way? Could you speak to that?
Certainly. With respect to the Ignite Durham Learning Foundation, through the chair to Councillor Henry, Ignite Durham Learning Foundation is a separate organization from the DDSB. They are closely linked, but ultimately the funding operations are separate. The work that they do and the types of things that we support through this are not directly related to the functions of the school board. So in this case, it was ensuring that students had access to food. That's not typically something that the Durham District School Board would consider core to their mission, or providing those meals to students. So we're helping to supplement something above and beyond that educational function. With respect to other school boards applying, again, the Ignite Durham Learning Foundation is not a school board, but we would certainly accept applications from any organization that was looking to service other schools. Scientists in the School is a good example. They go to various school boards. So it's not that we're not open to that, we just haven't seen those types of applications come through.
Okay, because my understanding was, and I have a little bit of inside knowledge of this because my business partner actually sat on Ignite, and he was, I believe, I could be wrong, one of the founding members. And my understanding was their close connection with DDSB, where they have DDSB employees that sit on the board as well. And so I guess that's where I got the feedback from the other school board saying, school board parents, not school board, let me correct myself, saying, why is it happening? Because on, the Catholic side, they do the funding for those type of programs through the parent council chairs. Parent council programs and the chairs usually get involved. Is it not the same on the other side? Is there anything that you could offer in that feedback?
I can't speak to the specifics of how organizations are set up or how they may conduct
All
themselves.
right, I'll leave that at that then. I just wanted to put that question kind of on the table to get some feedback on that. But I do want to thank you for all that your team has done. The overall feedback has been extremely positive, and in fact, the numbers that you showed today here are probably less than when you say the positive interactions, because I realized through your presentation that I've probably forgot to send you about 25 or more positive extra feedbacks that you probably did not receive. So my apologies for that. It could have been included in the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of council? Seeing none, thank you very much, Mr. Nichols. Item 6, correspondence. There are no items for correspondence. I'm going to move all the reports, 7.1, 7.2, together. Can I get a mover? I see Councillor Bauer, seconded by Regional Councillor Crawford, and we will start the vote. That passes. We are on to regional, no departmental reports, on to regional council reports. Any regional council reports? I see Regional Councillor Dyes.
Thank you. At our Committee of the Whole meeting last Wednesday at the region, we had a presentation by Two Steps Home, which is an organization that is looking at putting some small, tiny homes for the homelessness. And they are working with Durham Not-for-Profit Housing on this project, which is not affiliated with the region, just has the region's name, as they're in Durham. So the two organizations have got to a point, and this has been almost like a 4-year journey. They're based out of Toronto, Two Steps Home. They've done a lot of fundraising, and they have $1 million raised so far for the purchase of what they would like to see 50 small homes that they can find some land for, and that's what they're doing right now, is trying to look for the land with the region to accommodate an encampment or a cabin encampment that would facilitate homelessness. It would give them a cabin that has a locked door where they can live. It's got heating and it's got a window in it. It's got everything they need, air conditioning in the summer. What they don't have on site or in their cabin would be, any showers or facilities in that sense, which they would have a sort of a building that would house all those things like laundry facilities, washroom and showers. So I'm quite excited about it. It's taken 4 years to get to this stage. I think we've seen a huge increase in the homelessness here in Ajax, where we in 2018 had, I'd say, well under 100, and now here in 26 we have 225 approximately, and it's still rising, and we're seeing more and more seniors that are being homeless because the government checks have not kept up with inflation. So this is a humanitarian crisis that we're in, and it shouldn't take 4 years, but it did, and we're happy it's moving. So I'm hoping that it'll go very quickly. They'll find some land and be able to get that in. The plan is to get them implemented before the fall in next year. So that's my update.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Seeing no others, can I get a mover and a seconder for regional council reports? I see Councillor Henry and Councillor Bauer, and we'll start the vote. That passes. We are on to item 9, business arises from notice motion. We have a motion moved by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Bauer, accessible on-street parking. Councillor Henry, do you want to speak on this?
Thank you, I do, but before I speak on it, there is an amendment to the motion, and I think we have to pull that up first. Clerks, is that correct? So it's a friendly amendment. It's one that Councillor Bauer and I have already authorized to go forward. I sent out an email to our colleagues just to let them know this was coming. And the reason that it came after the publication was just due to another staff department overseeing this and saying, hey, I just want to strengthen this and make sure there's no loopholes. So it's a friendly amendment. I believe we have to vote on the amendment first, do we? No, we can just speak to it as a whole? Okay. So if I can have the motion in its entirety up on the screen here, just to make sure. And so this motion is with regards to the accessible parking, and it's to allow for the current maximum that exists to be extended for persons with an accessibility parking pass. So whereas accessibility parking permits and designated parking spaces support an inclusive society with a municipality that supports and accommodates the needs of persons with disabilities, and whereas accessible parking ensures equitable access for individuals with disabilities, including those who use wheelchairs or mobile devices, those who cannot walk without assistance, and those with certain respiratory, cardiac, or neurological conditions, enables participation in everyday activities. And whereas municipalities such as the City of Oshawa, maximum 4 hours, City of Toronto, maximum 24 hours, and the City of Hamilton, maximum 12 hours, permit extended on-street parking for vehicles displaying a valid accessible parking pass. And whereas modern accessible standards recognize the need of accessible parking permit holders extend beyond proximity to a building entrance and include the ability to safely load and unload mobile devices, enter and exit vehicles, and navigate their immediate environment without barriers. And if we could just go up a bit on this, on the screen. And whereas many residents with disability facing barriers within their own driveways, including steep grades, narrow widths, obstructive landscaping, or driveways that cannot accommodate accessible vans, side loading ramps, or larger mobility adapted vehicles, make on-street parking a safer and more functional option for some permitted holders. Therefore, it be resolved, number 1, that vehicles displaying a valid accessible parking permit may park for up to 6 hours in areas where a general on-street parking limit of 3 hours applies unless otherwise signed. And number 2, that vehicles displaying a valid accessible parking permit shall continue to comply with all other town parking bylaws and restrictions, including but not limited to. And I won't read the next, but you can see the red line changes on the screen. It's all within compliance. And we've had the discussions with our manager of bylaw, and I wanted to add to the motion, in reference to the motion in summary, that this removes some known barriers. This motion, it provides flexibility and accommodation, supports dignity and independence, respects safety and operational limits, and applies broadly and equitably, proactively advances accessibility. And if there's any further questions or comments during, I can address afterwards. I'll turn it over to my colleague, Councillor Bauer.
Councillor Bauer, as the seconder.
Thank you, Chair Lee. Thank you very much, Councillor Henry. You know, we both were working on similar priorities, so I'm very happy to second this motion. Having been a permit holder of an accessible parking pass many years ago, I understand and I appreciate the ability to, the willingness to accommodate and make accommodations or help as needed, and however a person who holds that permit may need it. So I think the whereases and the therefores are very thorough, and I am very happy to support this, and I hope my colleagues will too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns from council? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. That passes. Next up, we have the bylaws. I'm going to move all the bylaws at once, 10.1, 10.2. So 10.1 to 10.8, can I get a mover and seconder, please? I see Councillor Tyler Moran and Regional Councillor Crawford. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll start the vote. That passes. We are now on to notice of motion. Does any member of the council have any notice of motion for next meeting? Seeing none, we'll go to new business and announcements, our favorite part. Councillor Henry, excuse me.
You go first.
Thank you. I wanted to mention that Deputy Mayor, Regional Councillor Lee, and myself have an upcoming ward meeting. I believe it's our last ward meeting of the season, our first and last of the season, and that is coming up on, is it the 27th, I believe? Yes, it is the 27th of January at 7 p.m. at Audley Recreation Center, and it is in, I call it Section C. When you go there, you see outside these big bollards that say A, B, and C. It's at the far end. We're gonna have a special guest come out, two special guests from operations, and we're gonna talk about snow. And we're gonna have a great time talking about it. Lots of fun there.
You mean the weather, not the rapper, correct?
Correct,
Thank you.
correct. Also, totally irrelevant, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Big shout out to little Miss Kelly Henry, for tomorrow is her 20th birthday on the 20th of January. So just a big shout out to my child. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tyler Moran.
Thank you, Chair. Regional Councillor Marilyn Crawford and I are hosting our next ward meeting, community ward meeting for our residents in Ward 1 at McLean Community Centre at 95 McGill Drive in Ajax, Ontario. Everyone is welcome. Please bring a friend, maybe somebody who's never been there before, but once again, that's Tuesday, January 20, 2026, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of council? Seeing none, I'm just going to throw a few in myself. January is Tamil Heritage Month, so just our best wishes to all our Tamil community who also celebrated Thai Pongal this past weekend. On the 27th at 3:45, council at Pat Bailey Square, I believe, is having our Holocaust Remembrance Day vigil. So hopefully we will have members of the public there. On the 29th, we have the National Day Against Islamophobia vigil from 12 to 12:30, also at Pat Bailey Square. On the 22nd, we have the Ajax Pickering Board of Trade New Year's Levy, where they are swearing in their new, executive, including my workout partner, Mil Patel, who's the new president. So congratulations, Mil, you are now in the record. And finally, February, because before the next meeting, is Black History Month. The big one we always go to is the Cultural Expressions Black History Month at J. Clark. It'll be on Sunday, February 8th from 2 to 4, so hopefully we'll see everyone there. Great, and then can I get a mover and seconder for the confirming bylaw? I see Regional Councillor Dyes and Councillor Bauer, and we'll call to vote. Last but not least, can I get a mover and seconder for adjournment? Regional Councillor Crawford and Councillor Henry. And the vote. Who did not vote? How dare you? All right, that passes. Thank you very much. Everyone have a great day and month and week. Thank you.